Welcome to the next exercise. So I have this geometry ready with me right now, and in this particular geometry or the part you can see there are two ribs located at different positions. So let us try to analyze the geometry first. And if you can see over here, if we are starting from the base, we can see that the base is having a width of 40 units and a depth of 32 units. And after that I have a vertical wall like feature which is rounded on the top, and I have the radius is mentioned. The distance from the base to the central axis of the circle is given to us, and that is equal to 50 units. Now from the center point of this particular circle I have an outer radius of 20 units, and this is for the vertical wall. And likewise we have mentioned, the figure is giving us the diameters of the holes, and the hole is of 22 diameter, and the outer circle or the outer material is equal to 30 units of diameter. The distance of this particular part from the vertical surface is equal to 18 units. Apart from that, I have the thickness of the total geometry, that is equal to 7 units, which can be seen over here. And if you are checking the distance of the rib, you can see that the rib is located at a distance of 6 units from the right side edge. And checking out the dimensions of the rib, you can see that the rib is having a height of 20 units and a width of 20 units again. So let us try to work on this particular feature. So I will be starting from the base. So I will be going to the extrude command, and I will be creating on the front plane. And aligning my view. Now I have multiple options over here. I can try to start the geometry, the creation of the base from this view, or I can start creation of the particular geometry from this view. Let me try to work with this particular view. So first I have to create a rectangle of length 40 units and a height of 7 units. That is the thickness of the geometry. So let me click on center line first, and let me create a center line so that the rectangle is symmetric on both the sides. We can change the dimensions to be 40 units, and the thickness of the geometry is 7 units. After which you can press OK, and you can change the depth, that is equal to 32 units. So I have the option of keeping it symmetric or on the other side, but let me just try to keep on this side, on the front side. Now that the base is ready, I have created a base of 32 units depth, and you can see over here, if I am zooming in, the depth is from this particular edge to the outer edge of the geometry. It is not till this position. So whatever you're going to create right now should be included in this particular region. It should be inside the surface, not outside. Okay, so let us try to work on the vertical wall right now. So for creating the vertical wall, we have the width of the wall which is equal to the width of the base. That is obvious. Coming to the height of the wall, the height with respect to the topmost edge is not mentioned in the geometry, but we have the location of the circle. We have the location of the center point which is on the vertical wall. So wherever this particular center point of the circle is stopping, we can try to create a wall up to that particular location. That means we can try to create a wall from the base till the central axis of the circle, and that distance is equal to 50 units. So let me just try to work on it by clicking on extrude, and I can either select this particular plane or I can select this surface, but it is more important for me to select this particular plane because the wall is located on the far end, not the near end. So let me zoom in and select this particular plane and align my view. So whatever I'm going to create will be generated on this particular plane. So I have to create the vertical wall from the base itself. So this thickness is included in the vertical wall. I mean the distance 50 units is including the 7 unit thickness. So let me create a reference point. So it is a good practice to create referencing. Select on the rectangle option and match the width. Stop at certain position. So this particular distance, that is the base till the central point of the circle, is equal to 50 units. So let me double click and change it to 50 units. You can see that the sketch is ready. So I have to extrude it on the inner side but not on the outer side, because I have mentioned earlier that this thickness what I have kept for the first part is 32 units, and that is including the thickness of the vertical wall. So I need to change the direction and I need to see that it is inside the particular plane. Now that I'm comfortable with the location of the vertical wall, I need to change the thickness, and that is equal to 7 units. I can press OK. So I have this particular wall ready with me. Now I need to create the rounded region. So that particular surface can be created from this particular face by using the extrude command. So I have created a vertical or a horizontal reference line, and in this geometry, if I am zooming inside, I can see that from the central point, so this is the central point of all the circles what we are going to create right now. Okay, and that is equal to 50 units from the base. So from the central point, we can see that the arc of 20 radius is created and extruded on the other side. So let me go to the option of arc, center and end arc, click on the center point, click on the outer edge, match with the right side edge and stop it. So for extrusion, I have to ensure that the sketch is a closed loop. There should be no edges with open ends. Let me close the loop completely. Oops. So I have created this particular arc little bit inside. So let me just delete it by pressing Ctrl Z, and let me create it again. Now it is looking fine. Make it a closed loop. See that you're connecting both the edges. Now I have the closed loop ready with me, and the radius is obviously equal to 820 units because I have connected the outer edges. So I have not followed the dimensions what is given to me. I have followed the width of the total geometry. So as the base of the geometry is 40 units, so obviously this particular arc will be having a radius of 20 units. So in order to ensure, I can just click on dimension and click on the arc. I can see that I'm getting a 20 unit over here, and the reason I'm getting this warning is because the sketch is constrained with respect to the width of the geometry. So let me just close it, and let me press OK and extrude it on the other side with a depth of 7 units of thickness. So I have this feature ready with me right now, and now I have to create the feature of profile ribs right now. I'm sorry, Ctrl D. So you can see that the location of the rib is not on the central plane. It is located on the sides of the central plane, right? And I have some distance mentioned over here, and that is equal to 6 units from the outer edge. So in this case, we have to utilize a new datum plane over here. So simply click on plane, Now we need a referencing. So if you can see in the geometry, the profile rib is a reference with respect to the outer edge. So you can try to select this particular face. And let me just zoom out. I got my plane very far. So I have this plane reference with respect to the face what I've selected right now. But the plane is on the inner side of the geometry, not the outer side. So I can just shift it inside by moving with the mouse and change the units to 6 units because I have a distance of 6 units over here. So we can just ensure by changing the direction and seeing whether the distance is appropriate. So it's looking cool. I'll just press OK. Now I need to create a rib on this particular plane. So I will be selecting the plane first and I will be selecting the rib option, and under rib I will be selecting the profile rib. So you can see the moment I've selected the profile rib, the sketching is activated. Let me align the view right now. If I'm comfortable to sketch the rib in this particular orientation, I can continue with that, or I can change the orientation to be right. So it's up to the user. As you're getting comfortable with Creo, you can try to sketch in any orientation because you will be understanding the creation of the geometry. So I have to click on the two surfaces and you can see that the sketch is created on the new plane, and I have to change the dimensions of it. So let me align it again. This distance is equal to 20 units. And the horizontal distance is equal to 20 units. It is mentioned over here. Press OK. A rib is created. Now you have to see that the rib is located on the other side of the plane. Okay, for creation of the rib, we have created a sketch plane, and we have created a sketch plane at a distance of 6 units. That means this particular surface is the plane and the rib should be on the other side of the plane. Okay, so the thickness of the rib is 4 units. I have changed it to 4. So this is the plane what we have created. It need not be symmetry, it has to be on the other side because this distance is equal to 6 units. If I am keeping it symmetry, then this distance is changing to be around 6 minus 2, that is equal to 4 units. So this is inappropriate. Let me change it to this side. Press OK and you have the rib ready. So I want you to create the rib on the other side as well by creating a plane from this side, referencing this face and pushing it inside and changing the location of the plane to be 6 units and clicking on the sketch. Okay, I have not selected the rib right now. I have selected the sketch option. So let me see whether the sketch will work for us. We can follow the same trajectory of the previous rib connected. I have created a line right now. A sketch is ready with me. Now let me click on the sketch. Sketch is highlighted and let me click on the rib. So the direction of the rib is on the other side. I have changed it to the other side, that is inside the particular or nearer to the geometry. And let me align the view to front view so that I can see the location of the rib. The thickness has to be 4 units and the rib need not be symmetric. It has to be on the other side of the plane. So I have created the rib using the new sketch. So you can see that in this particular geometry, we have created 2 additional sketch planes. Now in order to create this particular rib on the left hand side, there is another way which is quite simpler. So I can go back to the first rib and imagine we have completed the generation of this rib. Now you can simply use a command which is called as mirror. So in this particular video, I'm introducing you to a new command called mirror. So for using the mirror command, you have to see whether the mirror command is highlighted or no. So first thing is we need to check out the location of the mirror command. The mirror command is located in the editing category, and you can see over here, this particular command is the mirror command. So it creates copies of the features, So we can try to highlight this particular feature. The moment we have highlighted it by selecting in the model tree, you can see that the mirror command is activated. And by clicking on the mirror command, you can copy this particular feature on the other side of the reference datum. So in this particular case, the mirror plane is this particular central plane. So the moment I've selected the central plane, I got the same feature which I'm copying on the other side of the central plane. So this particular central plane is acting as a mirror plane. So I have to press OK. I have the particular rib on the other side. So this particular feature is quite useful, because if I was not using this particular feature, I have used 3 commands. The first was to create a plane, second was to create a sketch, and the third was to create a profile rib. So I'm just eliminating all these commands by simply using the mirror command in Creo Parametric. So this is one of the most important feature. Like if, for example, if you're creating a wing of the aircraft, if you're working on the right hand side wing, which is symmetric along the central axis, then you can generate the left side wing easily just by mirroring on the left side. Okay, mirroring the right hand side feature on the left hand side of the central plane. That is called as the mirror plane. So we have seen 2 exercises which are dealing with ribs. I will attach few more exercises for your homework purpose. So you can just practice it, and you can, I'm sorry, I have not completed this figure. I just forgot about it. So let me just try to complete this extrusion part quickly by clicking on extrude, and I have the distance mentioned. I'm really sorry for this. So first let me create a central line, because it's difficult for me to identify the center point of the circle. Let us see with the circle whether I'm getting a central point of this feature. No, I'm not getting any. I'm not able to identify the center point. So let me just try to create a central line from this vertical wall face. And let me create this circle. So the outer dia is equal to 30 units. I can press OK. The distance of extrusion is 18 units. Now I need to create a hole by using the remove material option. And the diameter of the hole is equal to 22 units. This is radius. Change it to diameter. Now the diameter is equal to 22 units. Now let me change the direction. And it is mentioned over here that the hole is a through hole. So I can use the third option. Okay, now the geometry is ready. I was really confused, I'm sorry. Okay, so the geometry is ready right now. We have worked on it. We have created a circular feature. We have seen the method of creating a feature whose length is not mentioned, but we have the length of its base, that is the central point of the circle, that is equal to 50 units from the base. We have created a vertical wall, and from that particular location we have created the circular feature, and followed by creation of the holes. So we have 2 ribs over here. I will be attaching few more exercises. You can just practice along it. And now let us go to the next video.